2, 3, 4. I came across a drifting ship. I took a look inside. I found a note that someone wrote that said, take her for a ride. I set a course for sights unseen, went out to open sea. To my surprise, a bunch of sailors joined along with me. Now we're sailing on the mystery ship, and all the sailors here are really here. There isn't any contra membership. All that you gotta do is join our trip. Yeah, I'm the captain of the mystery ship, and I'm a-calling all aboard this trip. I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy it upon the mystery ship. So bring a friend and come along with us aboard the mystery ship.
Well, good evening, sailors. How is everyone doing this beautiful Sunday night? It is a gorgeous day here in Oregon. A beautiful fall day. The kind of day you you wish you could have done something with other than work in a building in a big freaking box somewhere like I did. Should have been out doing something with myself, but no, had some things I had to take care of. So I have been I have been really, really stretched the last few weeks. On Saturday, this past Saturday, I went to another groundbreaking for my most recent project, which will be starting this coming week. And it is all of maybe 3 miles, maybe 4 miles from my front door. This is one of those rare opportunities, people, where shit just looks like it's going ZOSO's way. But I have to say, I've paid for it, okay? Nothing in this world is free. You don't get off that easy in this world. For the last several months, since June, essentially. I finished up my last project earlier last year, and since that time they have been bouncing me around. First I remodeled the new building that my company bought. That was about a 2-month adventure. Once we got in, there was still, the inside was done, the outside needed to be done. So I was playing with the outside. While the outside of the building was going on, my boss bought this crazy but cool 1970 Airstream trailer. And he's like, yeah, I want to gut this thing, and I want to make it 1970 on the outside and 2030 on the inside. So that is exactly what we're doing. In fact, I spent the better part of today finishing up the little settee in the corner, the three-sided booth thing that, the table where everyone eats, and then the table drops down and you take the cushions off the back and you lay them on the table and it becomes a bed. So that's what I have been working on. On top of doing a Mercedes-Benz dealership, which is not one project, not 2 projects, not 3 projects, but 4 separate projects. There is a complete showroom remodel. There is a brand new building going up in the back. We just this past week, I had the surveyors come and stake that out. In the back corner, there is an addition to the parts department that is nearing completion. And then out in the middle of the road is a rear parking lot that we're adding on to, which includes completely widening the road, adding street lights. I mean, each one of them is a project unto itself, let alone doing 4 at the same time. So I have just been running ragged. I gotta tell you. I mean, I contemplated not even doing a show tonight. That's how tired I am. But I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I live for the show. I live for hanging out with these people and just shooting the shit and bullshitting about this and that. I mean, I love your take on things. I love your guys' imagination. And I'm like, no way. There's no way there's no way I'm missing this show tonight. Besides, I have a great topic. So much fun. So much freaking fun. Wow. Yeah, it's got a little rum in it, Larry. I better weaken that a little bit. Tonight, folks, we are talking about concert outdoor festivals. I'm not talking about the little, Sunday afternoon ventures at the local, country fair. I'm talking about the 250,000 person festivals of the days of old, which they keep trying to do it today, but just doesn't seem like doesn't seem like they can pull it off like the old days, and I can tell you why. Because there's this big, ugly word that has entered the picture. Yes, yes. It's called greed. Greed can ruin everything. Fortunately, I'm old enough to say that I was there. I lived through quite a number of these things, and we're going to look at some of them. And in fact, I was ecstatic to see a couple of the concerts that I have been to on the list. I found a very interesting list of 50 historic music festivals. Pretty cool stuff. We're going to be exploring a great many of them, but first, we're going to get out there and look at the wonderful people who have decided to drop in and see us tonight. It looks as though there are 12 people over there at Rumble. Now, I don't know who the 12 of you are. There hasn't been a peep out of one of you, but I know you're there. I do know you're there, and I'm thankful for you. So just know that lurkers rule, okay? Great to have you on board over at Rumble. Don't be afraid to say hello. I swear to God, I don't bite. I don't bite. Let's get on over to Pilled Foxhole, where Lord Almighty, we got people pouring. Holy cow. Look at this. LT, of course, he has the magic button. He knows, that in the fence line, the wooden fence line, there's that one board that you tilt it forward and the bottom goes up and you can sneak in before everybody else. He's always the first guy in the door. Great to see you, LT, my motorcycle riding buddy. Dave Mick, my brother, how are you? Good to have you with us. Really good to have you with us. EO2 Dave, my first mate over there, coming sailing in on the beautiful mystery ship. Dave, that is one of my favorite stickers of all time right there. I love that freaking sticker. I love it. Sean Joe, how are you doing, brother? Thanks for bringing the cookies. I hope you brought enough for everybody. Great to see you. Crazy Chuck with a K, my man. From Ohio, good to have you aboard. Great to see you. Val Hall is with us, one of our mods. How are you doing, darling? Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Stax is in the house. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. I have to laugh. Due diligence. How are you doing, my brother? Coming in aboard with the SS Foxhole. God darn it! I cannot wait to see that thing in person. In person. Victoria is with us. That name, darling. That name. Great to have you aboard. Great to have you with us. Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. Great to have you with us, my friend. Nana777. That's for you, darling. That's for you. Our 4 cents. Good to have you aboard. Great to see you. Antisocial 8. Bender to no one. LT 57. Bringing the love, as is Bender. You guys, you are amazing over there. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to take another quick peek over here. Look, we did get a couple of people to say peep, peep. Andy Social and Gloria Paddock officially checking in at Rumble, just keeping it warm, keeping the plate warm, keeping the seat warm. John Rogers is hanging in over there with Dark Brain at YouTube. Gentlemen, pleasure to have you aboard. I do expect others will amble on in after a little bit. Nice to have you with us. It really is. Really it is. Let's have a peek over at Twitch. Albert Frederick, is this still real life? Asking for a friend. It is, Albert. And it is good to see you, my flat earth brother. Hope everything is groovy. Dang it. I mean, dude, I need to get you in on a Sunday night for a great flat earth talk. Gosh darn it. I gotta get in touch with you somehow. Do you have my email address? It is zosodude@protonmail.com. There's no 77, just zosodude@protonmail. Dude, please send me an email. We got to talk. Fiddle D, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Hope everything is comfy and cozy over there at, yes, Nice to have them over at Twitch. D Live is where people are shaking it up tonight. Lynn Winters is here, Artist 61, Ath Stethoscope, Spudley in the house, Gloria Paddock, Bad Zoot. How are you doing, little lady? Jayla 17 is with us. I thought I saw P. Did I see P Dan? Who did I see? I was scrolling through earlier, going, wow, look at all these people showing up. Yes, I saw P Dan. She donated an ice cream. Thank you. Mighty Tort, good to have you aboard. We've got some new people, some new names. Always a pleasure. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with your captain aboard the mystery ship. It is always a pleasure to do this. I do this on Sunday night. I do it on Wednesday night. I do it on Friday night. And then Saturday during the day, I knock it down to just 2 channels, and I host the best classic rock show you've ever heard in your life. We had one yesterday, and it was splendid. It was absolutely splendid. But tonight, folks, we are going to be talking about rock festivals. Now, festivals are as old as, it goes back to the freaking ancient Greeks, okay? No kidding. Festivals go back to the ancient Greeks. They used to honor one of the gods, Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy, of course. I'm no stranger to danger in those parts. They would hold giant festivals, which consisted of comedy and tragedy performances. Well-known Greek playwrights like Aristophanes, Euripides, and Sophocles were the rock stars of their day. They would headline these giant festivals like at the Acropolis. So, other than the fact that they didn't have PAs and amplifiers and headsets and wireless mics and, monitors at your feet. Hell, the Beatles didn't even have monitors. People have been gathering to have a good time for quite some time, for millennia. Now, I'm wondering if Aristophanes ever signed autographs. Do you know how long it would take with a hammer and chisel to, Aristophanes was here. I don't know. I don't know. All I do know is that I'm very glad you're here. It looks like we're live at Pilled. We are live at Rumble. We're live at YouTube. We are live at Twitch, and we are live at D Live. That is a wonderful start to a Sunday night. I'm going to get the ball rolling right here. We'll be back immediately following this, and we're going to launch into tonight's interesting topic. I'm so glad you're here. Hang around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a crazy good time. Crazy good time.
Why do we sail upon the mystery ship? 'Cause we never know where we'll go next.
this is where I take a moment to thank the beautiful people. And by beautiful people, I'm talking about you folks, you out there. You are the ones who tell a friend about this show. You share it with your friends and neighbors, your coworkers, your cousin, that ugly old lady down the end of the block. Let them know about this show. It's the only way we grow. I appreciate it. That is one of the best ways you can support this program. Of course, a huge amount of thanks goes out to those of you who choose to support this show in other ways, maybe dropping gold pills or sending lemons our way, perhaps utilizing the buy me a coffee or the paypal.me or whatever ways you see, the Cash App. You guys never cease to amaze me with your generosity, and I love you for it. Thank you so very much for your support of this program and others like it. I assure you, every last content creator raises a toast to you when you drop a cookie, okay? Thank you, all of you, from my heart. You rock. You rock. Damn, I have got an unquenchable thirst tonight. I should be drinking water, not poison. But what the hell? It tastes good right now. It tastes good. What can I say? Are we doing well out there? Are we? Artist61 has jumped in to say hello to John Rogers and Dark Brain. Good to see you, Steph. Good to see you spreading the love around. Everybody is spreading the love around. I got last night I got 2 phone calls. One was from my brother, John Rogers, and the other was from our dear brother, Mad Pogue, saying, dude, you know, man, you left your stream going. Yesterday, after my 4-hour rock show, I always, at the end of the show, I just put on harbor sounds, boats, seagulls, the occasional foghorn, and I let it roll for a few minutes while I stroll through the different platforms and say my goodbyes and my thank yous to certain people. And I got preoccupied yesterday. I was getting ready to shut everything down, and the cat had wandered in here. So I picked up the cat and I brought it outside, and the next thing you know, I got preoccupied again. And bottom line is, I'm laying in bed last night. It's around midnight, and I wake up, and I don't know. I know I'm not going to get back to sleep, so I'm looking at my phone, and I got a couple of calls. What's going on here? And that's when I realized my stream was still going at midnight last night. So I put my robe on and wandered out here in the dark in the garage and shut it down finally after, I think it was, I don't know, 8 or 10, 12 hours. Might have been a 12-hour stream. Longest stream I've ever done. Pretty crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy stuff, when people think about big concerts, everyone immediately thinks, oh, Woodstock. Woodstock, the motherlode of them all. Now, Woodstock may be one of the most advertised, most talked about, but folks, it was hardly the biggest outdoor concert, not by a long shot. No, the largest outdoor gathering ever was actually the following year in 1970, and I'm pretty sure it continues to this day. The Isle of Wight. Now, it's spelled W-R-I-G-H-T, but it is pronounced White. The Isle of Wight in 1970 had acts like The Doors and Jethro Tull. They had 600,000 people there. 600,000. That, my friends, is a small city. In fact, where I come from, that's a hell of a large city. That is like, seriously, twice the population of the biggest town that we have right here in Medford, Oregon, which hosts, I think, 250,000. It's double the size of that. crazy, crazy. But as far as festivals go, the first like rock and roll festival, so rock festivals weren't necessarily a thing. In the 50s, they used to have jazz festivals. And it's easy to tell why, because jazz festivals, first of all, it's the type of music, okay? It's just not the kind of thing that you headbang to. You just kind of lay there, you bebop along to it. Most most of the jazz guys are on heroin anyway, so they don't even know if there's people there or not, you know? I mean, the guy who shook up, the guy who shook up jazz festivals was in 1958. Okay, the Newport Jazz Festival of 1958 was shaken when Chuck Berry got up and played Sweet Little 16 and School Days. Okay, they had never heard amplified electronic music before. In fact, it shook them to their core. Believe it or not, it was recorded. It was filmed. The Newport Jazz Festival was filmed in 1958. Chuck Berry's work is somewhere out there. You can find it. It's in a documentary. It's in a documentary by a gentleman named Bert Stern. You jazz lovers out there. And it is called Jazz on a Summer's Day. Look for it. And if you find it, please drop me a link. I'm dying to see it. Interestingly enough, the Newport Folk Festival, not to be confused with the Newport Jazz Festival, the Newport Folk Festival in 1965 featured the one, the only, Bob Dylan. Now, this will blow your mind. Bob Dylan, of course, you know, everybody knows him, or people knew him on the folky scene, of course, for his incredible songs, you know. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. Okay. Well, old Bob showed up in 1965 to the folk festival with Robbie Robertson and the band in tow. And for the first time ever, live, in front of people, it wasn't just Bob Dylan and his little acoustic guitar. No, Bob was sporting a Stratocaster, and people were pissed. They were enraged. In fact, after 3 songs, 3 electric songs by Bob Dylan and the band, they booed him off the stage. They booed him off the stage, people. 1965. Dylan gets the axe from the crowd for not being a folkie. Not being folky enough. How about that? How about that? Crazy shit, huh? Now, shortly after that, there was, of course, the Monterey Pop Festival. Now, the Monterey Pop Festival was a little bit looser. And in 1967, this is where the world got turned on to this crazy left-handed guitar player, this Jimi Hendrix character. Live at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival were the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, and The Who. But Jimi Hendrix was the one who stole the show, okay? Absolutely stole the show. After that, he was the one that everybody was talking about. The word spread like wildfire about this guy. Now, notable people in the audience there, okay, were people like Joni Mitchell and Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, Oh, for crying out loud, most of the members of the dead Jerry Garcia and his little troupe, they were hanging out watching Hendrix play. Pretty amazing stuff. Pretty amazing stuff. But yes, it was, of course, 1969 and the Woodstock Festival that really got the ball rolling. Okay? 3 days of peace, love, and music. It rained on the poor folks. The setup was abysmal. The thing is, it wasn't supposed to be held where it was held, which was a little town called Bethel, New York. Okay? It was supposed to be held in Woodstock. That's why it's called Woodstock. But at the last minute, the promoters and the landowners got in a heated debate, and next thing you know, they talked to this guy, Max Yasgur, and he said, hey, you can use my farm. It's going to take some work. And the guys worked around the clock to build that stage. And there were no monitors, no freaking monitors. When you were on that stage, you couldn't hear yourself. You couldn't hear. My dear brother, Bobby Columbi, the drummer for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, was on this very program, and he told us what it was like to be there. And, for me, everything I had ever heard about Woodstock was, as a fan. But we got his account as a player, and he just treated it like any other gig. And they said it was a muddy freaking mess. That everything was disorganized. There weren't any bathrooms. He said it was like, seriously, one of the roughest times that he could ever remember, as far as trying to go out and put on a show for people. But at least they didn't get rained on. They did not get rained on. We've got a good gang hanging out over there at YouTube. Nice to see you. Yes, Mama Cass was there. You are very correct. Mama Cass and her friends were there at the Monterey Pop Festival. Yes. Very good. I love when they chime in. Now, a little while after Woodstock, just a few short months later, December 6th, to be exact, on the other side of the country was the Altamont Rock Festival. Now, a funny thing about this, in the late 60s, San Francisco was generally understood to be like the only thing happening. It was way cooler than L.A. Haight-Ashbury, you had people passing around hash brownies and stuff and all that kind of thing. San Francisco was truly a scene. That's where the Summer of Love took place. Okay, that song. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. That's not. It wasn't some crazy. That's the way people were. Okay, my friend, who's about 10 years older than me, told me when he was living up there that. And I quote him. He goes, dude, if I was walking through Golden Gate Park and I saw a pile of naked people, you could just like join in, man. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, there was fucking orgies all over the place. I'm like, wow. So what happened is the Grateful Dead and I want to get this right. The Grateful Dead had reached out to the Rolling Stones because the public was grumbling about high ticket prices, okay? People were complaining back then in the late 60s. They were complaining about ridiculous ticket prices. $1 to get into a freaking show. Can you imagine? $1 to go see the Rolling Stones. So the Stones said, damn it, we are going to finish our American tour this year with a free concert in San Francisco. And that's how it started. So initially, it was going to be at a racetrack in Sonoma. Somehow, the owners of that racetrack insisted on getting, they wanted $300,000 up front from the Rolling Stones, $300,000 cash to cover any kind of damages or whatever might happen. So the Stones told them politely, go stick it where the sun doesn't shine. So the next step was Golden Gate Park. And the Stones decided to have the concert on December 4th at Golden Gate Park. Free concert with the Rolling Stones. Unfortunately, pro football came to town, and there was a field nearby. And because of the crowds of people expected to come to the NFL game, they had to choose yet another venue. And that is how Altamont came to be. Now, Altamont is a racetrack in between Pacific Coast Highway and the 5 freeway, out in the middle of nowhere, a little place called Tracy. Okay? It's really just a cow town, literally out in the middle of nowhere. And they decided to get the Hells Angels to be the security. Now, the fact of the matter is, no such deal was inked. There wasn't any contract or any. The Stones did not. All what really happened between the Hells Angels and the Rolling Stones is, it turns out that the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane had used the Hells Angels a couple of times to just stand around the edge of the stage to protect them. Now, they weren't hired as bouncers. It was their mere presence that pretty much, when people would come rushing the stage, they would see Hells Angels and go, "Ooh, wait a minute, I don't think I'm going to rush the stage." And the really sad thing about Altamont was that the stage that was set up was only 39 inches tall. That is just barely over 3 feet tall, which is, if you look at the movie today, it's called Gimme Shelter, you can see that it's all shot from the waist up. It really, you never see any of their feet because the stage was so low to the ground. The Hells Angels insist to this day that all they were asked to do was, quote unquote, give directions to people. Now, they gave directions with, billiard cues and things like that. And people generally take pretty good direction when provoked with a billiard cue. I know that I would respect anybody swinging one in my general direction. That's a fact. All they received was $500 for beer money. That was the pay given to them. Now, the Grateful Dead were supposed to play there. They never did. Who did play there was Jefferson Airplane opened the show. You won't see this in the movie. Then, believe it or not, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young played at Altamont just before the Rolling Stones. By this time, the things were getting out of hand. Things were getting out of hand. They had a couple of deaths. One person drowned, on influenced by LSD. But the sad part was the killing of a young man, Meredith Hunter, all captured on film. It shows one of the Hells Angels raising up a knife, and, well, the man met his demise, Meredith Hunter. Rest in peace, some 45, 50 years later. That was an ugly close to the 60s. Whereas a mere 4 months earlier, you had 3 days of peace and love. And in Altamont, they had an ugly afternoon of death and blood. So, pretty sad stuff, really. Very sad. After Altamont and Woodstock is, of course, when they had the big one over in Great Britain, the Isle of Wight. Now, in Great Britain, they like these large festivals, and following the major success that was the Isle of Wight Festival, they started these other festivals that are still continuing to this day. I'm talking about names like Nebworth and Glastonbury. Perhaps you've heard of these. These are enormous annual festivals, huge. A lot of them have turned into metal concerts, which personally I don't have any problem with at all. Let's see. There were a couple others that really don't get a whole lot of mention, but also in 1969. What year was this? I mean, what month was this? In Toronto, Canada, there was the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival. Now, John Lennon, Eric Clapton, they played there. It was John Lennon's first time out with the Plastic Ono band. They did a bunch of weird songs like Blue Suede Shoes and stuff like that. I just had to mention that because Toronto, you don't think of Toronto as a mecca of rock and roll, but apparently Toronto gets its fair share. Hats off to our Canadian brothers up there. They do know how to rock up there in Toronto. I've heard that Toronto is a pretty hip freaking town. I've been to Canada several times. I've yet to make it to Toronto. Looking forward to do it. Okay, so 1970 Isle of Wight. This is the one we mentioned a minute ago. 600,000 people. Oh, I forgot to mention this. An interesting aside. Let's just back up for a second. The 1967 Monterey Pop Festival that featured The Who. So the minute the show was over, The Who was invited by Chuck Berry to come to Hollywood. Now, at the time, Chuck Berry owned a home known as The Island. It is a very unusual home. I know exactly where it is. And it has no neighbors. It is surrounded by streets on all sides. This one little tiny piece of property up by the Hollywood sign, that's the reason it's called The Island, is that no other homes abut the thing. Chuck Berry threw a party there, and The Who apparently played a 4-hour concert in Chuck Berry's backyard. I know a guy who claims that he went to the party. So, pretty interesting stuff. And I've actually read that that is true. So, how about them apples? Seeing The Who in a backyard party in 1967? That would have been pretty freaking cool. Now, things are always bigger in Texas, are they not? Okay, yes. In 1973, the promoters in Houston, Texas, decided that they're going to take their crack at this festival jazz, see what kind of money they can make, because everything's bigger in Texas. Everything. at the Houston Astrodome. The Houston Astrodome, they had the Astrodome Jazz Festival. It featured Ella Fitzgerald, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles. Tickets were an unbelievable $5.50 to $10. Folks, that was a lot of fucking money in 1973. Okay? $5 for a concert? $10 for a concert? That's blasphemous. I have ticket stubs here somewhere. Where are they? Somewhere here on my desk. Yeah, here we go. Right here. I have ticket stubs from the 70s right here. Okay? These are the concerts I went to back in the day, back when men were men and sheep were scared. Here's Aerosmith from 1976. 1976, Aerosmith, $10. Okay? $10, rain or shine, be there. Aloha. But this is Queen. Queen in 1975. $6.75. Can you see that? $6.75 at the Fabulous Forum for Queen. Let's see. This was, anyway, bottom line is, well, I know that one of these is $2.95. $8.75. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Is this the one? $5.25. $5.25. Okay? So these are late 70s. That $10? 10 fucking bucks? That's a ripoff. That's when people started getting pissed off at promoters. Okay? That's when greed slipped in. Greed. It's an ugly word. It's an ugly, ugly thing. Man. You saw The Who, Dave Mick? In 1980, The Who did 6 shows at the LA Sports Arena. I went 5 of 6 nights in 1980. Okay. Moving right along. Now, in 1973, there was a little place in upstate New York. Perhaps you've heard of it. You New Yorkers, you East Coasters probably have heard of this place. Up by the Finger Lakes, right at the base of Lake Seneca, where my dad used to take me fishing as a little boy, is a place called Watkins Glen. Who out there has heard of Watkins Glen? Put an X in the chat if you've heard of Watkins Glen. Okay? This place was known. This place was known for great concerts. Starting in 1973, they had a thing called the Summer Jam. 600,000 people. 600,000 people at Watkins Glen. Allman Brothers, the band, the Grateful Dead. There's actually a raceway, a Grand Prix raceway there. That's where they hold the event. But that's pretty crazy, okay? I mean, for back in the day, that is impressive. 600,000 people. That's way bigger than Woodstock. And let's not leave Appalachia out of this. The Ozark Music Festival, which started in 1974. A lot of people don't even know that this concert series exists. The Ozark Music Festival at the Missouri State Fairgrounds in Sedalia featured brand new artists, brand new on the scene. Aerosmith, Blue Oyster Cult, and Boz Scaggs. They also had the Eagles and America there. 350,000 people attended. That's that's a good sized crowd. Sage Freedom 444 says, woohoo for the Allman Brothers. I'm an Allman Brothers fan myself. 1975, the Schaefer Festival, put on by Schaefer Beer. Schaefer Beer, like that's the Coors of the East Coast, okay? Anyway, right? Am I right, Cosmic Grandpa? Am I right? Anyway, again, in 1975, held at the Woolman Skating Rink in New York City's Central Park, the Schaefer Festival. Now, this festival has been going on since the 60s, okay? In 1975, the featured artists included Bob Marley and the Wailers, Journey, and once again, Aerosmith. This was like a month-long thing. Talk about a festival that lasts. It went from June 18th to September 14th at a roller skating rink. Or excuse me, a skating rink in Central Park. We'll have to ask Batman about it. Yeah. Cosmic Grandpa says, I'm right. Yes, indeed. Now, we can't leave San Francisco out of this, okay? The first annual Cool cigarettes, the menthol cigarette, the Cool Jazz Festival, the first one, happened in 1976 at the Pontiac Metropolitan Stadium. The lineup featured Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, and the Staple Singers. That was, it's funny how sometimes they say it's a jazz festival, but it ends up being a soul festival. Because really, those guys were soul singers, all of them. Although I am partial to Smokey Robinson. I freaking love that guy. In fact, Marvin Gaye and none of those guys could do any wrong right there, if you ask me. Now we're getting into my neck of the woods, people. Now we are getting into my neck of the woods. March 18th, 1978 was the year that we had, brought to you by KMET 94.7 and California Jam Incorporated, Cal Jam 2. This is my ticket to the event. What happened is we tore down the fences. There were 385,000 of us. 385,000 people descended upon Ontario Motor Speedway. I was one of them. My brother was one of them. I slept face down in the dirt that night in my Heart t-shirt. I've told this story before, but this is my ticket. Let's see how much it cost to go see an outdoor festival in 1978. $12.50 right there. Can you see it? $12.50. Wolf and Rissmiller presents California Jam 2. I wonder if this ticket is worth anything. I wonder, it's got to be worth something. An uncanceled ticket? I was so happy to find this. What's weird about this little envelope? I mean, I've got Led Zeppelin stubs in here. I've got Bowie and all these 1970s Aerosmith, ton of Aerosmith. Tons and tons of, here's another Aerosmith concert. Santa Monica, that one's at the Santa Monica Civic. $7. Oh, $7.50. $7.50. What was the other Aerosmith one? That Aerosmith one was Yeah, this one was at Anaheim Stadium. That one was $10. $10. 1976. Oh, son of a bitch. My brother. My brother and I had twin dressers as children. And then we moved away and went our separate ways. And then for a very short period of time, my brother and I, in our early 20s, lived together again. And once again, both of our matching dressers were in the same house. Somehow, some way, when we moved out, you know how you pull all your dresser drawers out and then you know, it's easier to carry the unit than you shove the drawers back in. Somehow, one of my drawers got mixed up with one of my brother's, and 30 years later, my brother pulls this envelope out and says, Bob, Al, you should have this. It's yours. And I said, what is it, Bob? He goes, dude, this is all your concert stubs from the 70s. You know, when you were a kid and you saved that silly stuff. Well, I'm kind of thankful I have it to this day. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy to say I still have something like that. $10 to go see Aerosmith. To be honest, in looking through those, there were concerts I forgot that I went to, you know. Honestly, there were concerts that I forgot that I went to. But anyway, that's a good reason to keep your stubs. Good reason to keep your stubs. Andy Social says I was 20 and grunge as fuck. He went to the very first Lollapalooza. We're getting to Lollapalooza. We're getting there. So in 1978, besides the California Jam and California Jam 2, the first California Jam was 1973. That was also at Ontario Motor Speedway. That had Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It had the Eagles. There was a great lineup there. Cal Jam 2, let me tell you. Cal Jam 2, the one that I went to, that was no slouch, okay? Santana, Hart, Ted Nugent, Aerosmith. There's more yet. There were some great freaking acts that day. Bob Welch from Fleetwood Mac. Oh, man. It was huge. It was all day. It was enormous. Fantastic. In 1978, though, that was also the year that Texas once again decided they wanted to get in on the action. So in 1978 at the Cotton Bowl was the very first, it's called the Texas World Music Festival with two X's, TEXXAS. This later morphed into what was known as the Monsters of Rock, okay? So 10 years after this, in 1988, I flew to Texas. I went to the Cotton Bowl to see some of these bands. But in 1978, the Texas World Music Festival consisted of Van Halen, Ted Nugent, Sammy Hagar, Journey, Hart, Aerosmith. Pretty much the same people that were at Cal Jam 2, with the exception Van Halen was not there. Van Halen was not there at Cal Jam 2. Now, this will kind of blow your mind. This will blow your mind. You can't leave the funkers out of it, okay? They like to party too, and they like to party hardy. 1979, you had the quote-unquote world's greatest funk festival. Yes, I'm talking, was at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Now, I remember this. Weekend. Rick James and the Stone City Band, Brides of Funkenstein, Bootsy's Rubber Band, and, of course, Parliament Funkadelic. Folks, Parliament Funkadelic, if you don't remember this band, they used to dress up in these crazy space suits. Okay, I got to be able to pull up a picture. I got to be able to pull up a picture of Parliament Funkadelic. Images. Let's see. Oh, yeah, baby. Let's get a picture. Let's get a picture of these guys. These guys were wild. I'm talking wild Parliament Funkadelic. Okay, let's go. We need a beauty here. Oh yeah. Okay. I really want to. I want to show you what they were all about. Is this it? Will that do it? Let's see if I can steal this and move it over here. Oh, it's not one of those that I can. Damn it. Well, okay, wait. I can do this. I can do this. Move this over here. All right, you guys have to see this band. Parliament Funkadelic. There wasn't anything like them. Look at them. Look at these guys. Look at this dude. Bootsy Collins. Look at this outfit right here. Bootsy was out of his freaking gourd. Okay? Look at these people. Look at these people. Parliament Funkadelic. Did they know how to party or what? Look at these outfits. I am telling you, there was nothing like Parliament Funkadelic. And the people loved him. They just absolutely freaking loved him. Oh my goodness. I had a friend in LA that was the biggest Parliament Funkadelic fan you ever saw. This guy, he loved him. He just loved him. A little out of my league, but very cool stuff. Joey D says that Trump rebuilt the Woolman skating rink due to the city's thievery. Wow. Bring the funk with George Clinton. You're right, Dark Brain. George Clinton, man. I think didn't he also play with Frank Zappa? I'm almost positive. All right. So after the funk, okay, and believe me, those things were big. Toronto, again, getting back into the action in the early 80s with, they had a series of concerts every summer called Heat Wave. I doubt that it gets that hot, but over 100,000 people poured into Toronto to see the B-52s, The Clash, Elvis Costello, and the Talking Heads. Here's another concert that I went to, okay? In 1983, in a little place called Glen Helen, which at the time in 1983, it was nothing but tumbleweeds out in San Dimas, okay? It was as far away from civilization as it was like 2 hours just to get there. And when you got there, there was nothing but tumbleweeds. Now, it is a thriving metropolis. But back in 1983, people, it was a barren desert. And that's where they had 3 days. There was Hard Rock Heavy Metal Day. There was, what do you call it? What's the words I'm looking for? New Wave and Punk Day. And then there was the third day, which was people like, I don't know, Bowie. I mean, it was an interesting festival. 3 days. You could buy tickets for 1 day. You could buy tickets for 2 days, or you could buy tickets for 3 days. I bought tickets for all 3 days and ended up only going to 1 day. I won't tell you the reasons why. It was ugly. It was ugly. But you know who put on the US Festival? This will blow your mind. One of Apple's co-founders, Steve Wozniak. Yes, Woz himself got in on the music scene, figuring there was a buck to be made. He put up the money to bring in the bands. Glen Helen Regional Park in Devore, California. How I remember it well. He wanted to call it the Woodstock of the 80s. He actually envisioned this being a year after year after year concert. Well, it was one and done, people. One and done. But I was there. And the funniest thing ever, the funniest thing ever, one of my best friends, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. A week before the US Festival, he's got his 2 tickets in his wallet. He's got $600 in his wallet. He's got a gram of that, you know, that white powdery stuff that people like to smell rapidly. He's got some of that in his wallet, and he left his wallet in a phone booth. We stopped at a payphone for him to use, and the number that he needed was on one of the pieces of paper in his wallet. We got back in my car. We drove away. We're about, I don't know, 10 blocks, 12 blocks away. And he goes, oh my God, my wallet. Turn around. We go hauling ass back to the phone booth. It was gone. Somebody found themselves a concert kit. Somebody found a concert kit. They had enough money in there to get themselves a limo there and back, 2 tickets to the show, and a little bumping party for them. Ah, man, I felt so bad for him. Holy cow. But the US Festival was different. It really was different. Flock of Seagulls, The Clash, Ozzy Osbourne, Van Halen, oh my God, Judas Priest, oh my goodness, who else? The Scorpions. Oh man, that was a great weekend. I think Tom Petty was there. Anyway, now come the mid 80s, this is when the world started feeling for one another. That's when they wanted to, oh, we need to save humanity. That's when things like Live Aid and Farm Aid, that's when all the aids came in. Yes, it was the 80s were the beginning of AIDS of every kind. And Farm Aid originally intended to help out the farmers. And you know, I believe that some good is done with the money. But like anything else in the world, the accounting, who's taking care of the accounting? Because these things generate lots and lots and lots of money. And people like Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Joel, Tom Petty, Loretta Lynn. We know that John Mellencamp is a standard there. Neil Young plays there. And I think Farm Aid is still going, isn't it? Isn't it still going to help farmers? I don't know. Now, down in South America, even they got in on the festival action. Did you know this? I did not know this. There's a thing called Rock in Rio. This is down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And headlining acts are groups like Iron Maiden, Queen, Ozzy Osbourne, Rod Stewart, attracting, can you believe this, people? Sit down, because these are the biggest attended concerts, festivals ever. Over 1 million people show up. 1 million people show up for Rock in Rio. Rock in Rio. My buddy played there. The guy who plays drums for, or used to play drums, he just stopped. He was playing drums for Pat Benatar for the last 14, 15 years. He played there he played one of these Rock in Rios. He said, it's just people as far as the human eye can see. You just look out, and he goes, it's more than oceans of people. It's people as far as you can see. I don't know how well I would do at one of those things. I mean, I have a story that I think I shared this before. I won't share it again. About having to go to the bathroom at the US Festival. I shared that story. I'm not gonna share it again. But it's ugly. It's ugly, people. It's you tell me how they're gonna have food and bathrooms for 1 million people. They're not. I'm telling you, they're not. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Now, I never heard of this one before. I never heard of this one before. The Reading Festival. How many of you have heard of the Reading Festival? It started in 1992, and Nirvana was one of the headlining acts along with Public Enemy. But I have never heard of Reading. I'm guessing it has to be Reading, Pennsylvania, because it's not spelled like Reading, California. Anybody know about this one? I don't even know what Reading we're talking about. It looks like the Reading Railroad. So then comes back the Woodstock Festival. Okay? Yep. Like everything else, they have to get another crack at it. And to do it, they had to resurrect some of the old fogies who played at the original Woodstock Festival. So in 1994, they brought back Woodstock. Let me show you a picture of this. Where is it? Right here. Can I show you that? All right. Let's show you this. Come on. This was the second Woodstock. So this time you think they had their shit together, right? I mean, look at it. Now instead of one dove, there's two doves on the guitar. And look at all those people. Pretty crazy shit. So in 1994, Bob Dylan, who turned down the opportunity to play the original Woodstock, he made a triumphant return to the 1994 Woodstock at Winston Farm in Saugerties, New York. Now, I'm not quite sure where Saugerties is, but 350,000 people paid $125 each to see the artists, who included Aerosmith, Traffic, Peter Gabriel, Santana, Jefferson, Airplane, and the Grateful Dead. I don't know. I don't know that I would have gone to Woodstock too. Sometimes you just got to leave well enough alone. You can't go home again. I know that. I know that because I moved my life. I moved. If you ask me where I'm from, I don't know that I could tell you. I don't know. I've lived so many places. Now, Memphis was, that they took note of all the money being made, and they got to get in on the action too, okay? Now, Memphis isn't quite as greedy as Nashville, but they can smell money a mile away. So in 1995, they created something called the Beale Street Music Festival, and apparently it continues to this day. Groups like Fleetwood Mac, Adam Ant, Doyle Bramall, Oh, ZZ Top. I guess they are getting some. I guess they're getting some prime acts out there in Memphis. Anybody in the Memphis area? Oh, Matty F&B says, I know Reading. You know the Reading Festival? Outstanding. Outstanding. Now, we're starting to get into the groups that, I'll be honest with you, people, I never in my life, as a musician, as a young, dope smoking hippie in the 70s, I swore up and down I would never turn into my father. I swore that I would always stay hip. I would always know the latest and greatest bands. I would always listen to popular, modern radio, and I was always going to be cool. Folks, that did not happen. Somewhere around between 1995 and 2005, I'm not kidding you, music kept going straight, and man, I made a left turn. It just got into stuff that it didn't sound like music to me anymore. I'm talking groups like System of a Down, and it just sounded like angry people screaming. It didn't seem like music to me. They lost me. A former hard-rocking metalhead. I mean, look at my guitars, the Marshalls, okay? I used to bang my head like anybody else. But somehow they lost me. And that's why when I hear of groups like Rocket from the Crypt and Pennywise and Blink 182, I don't even know who these people are. Are those bands? Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. I never thought I would get old, but I guess I did. Somewhere along the line, I got old. I tried to hang in there with groups like, Pearl Jam and Collective Soul. I thought they would keep me young, but Mrs. O and I just saw Collective Soul here, 2-3 years ago maybe, but yeah. Anyway, now we're getting into things like Coachella and Lollapalooza. And folks, sadly, okay, this is the late 90s. This is when they decide we are going to rape and pillage. We are going to charge through the nose for tickets. We don't care about the people. We don't care where they sleep. We don't care where they eat. We don't care where they pee. We're just going to charge them exorbitant ticket prices and wish them the best of luck. 1999 was the first Coachella Music Festival held at Empire Polo Field in Indio, California. Let me tell you, Indio, California is a hellhole, okay? There is fucking nothing out there. It is tumbleweeds, okay? I'm telling you. Yeah, it's like you pass through Indio on your way to Palm Springs. At least, okay, maybe I'm talking with 25-year-old memories. For all I know, it could be a thriving metropolis by now. But from what I remember of Indio, there was like one off-ramp, and it was nothing but rolling tumbleweeds and maybe a couple of cows. But bands like Rage Against the Machine and Tool, I know. I've heard of Tool. And Beck, I've heard of Beck, of course. Rage Against the Machine, yeah, I've heard about them. They're like hard rock with like somebody who raps or something. Another one that didn't do anything for me. Okay, so see what happened? Greed happened. 1999, they had this concert, right? Then in 2000, they tried to hold it again. and only 25,000 tickets were sold. You know why? Because the people felt like they got ripped off, so they canceled it. But in 2001, they brought it back, and I guess it's been going ever since. Because look at this. Look at the mud. Look, look. Okay? Does this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Does this look like a good time to you? Does this look like fun? That doesn't look like fun to me. No, no, you can have that shit. Half that mud out there is probably urine. It's probably urine. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to go to something like that. No, those days are over. those days are over. Forget that. That is not my idea of a good time. No. Yes, it looks unsanitary. It's disgusting. You're not going to see me going to that kind of crap. It's like today's Burning Man. No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, now in Britain, they're still going with Glastonbury. Okay, here it is. They're still getting huge acts in Glastonbury. That's still going. And let's see. What are some of the Austin city limits in Austin, Texas? My God, it debuted in the festival there debuted in 2002. Apparently, it's still going. Let's see. Bonnaroo. I've heard of Bonnaroo in Manchester, Tennessee. 70,000 people. I wonder if Bonnaroo is still a thing. Coachella. Oh, man. Yeah, I just, folks, these modern festivals that with names like Pitchfork and Street Scene in San Diego. Pitchfork is held in Union Park in Chicago. Lollapalooza. Holy crap. Another 3-day festival at $190 a ticket. $190 a ticket. I want to show you one more time where I saw Aerosmith for $7.50. Santa Monica Civic, okay? $190. Kiss my rosy red rectum. No, I'm not going to pay that kind of thing. Forget it. Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza. I guess these things are still going. Austin city limits. Yeah, they're talking about 2012 Coachella. Riot Fest. Boy, that sounds like a good time. In Chicago, featuring bands like The Replacements, Brand New, Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, and the Pixies. 2013 Riot Fest. You know what? Just the name alone tells me I don't want to go to that show. No, thank you. First of all, it's in Chicago. Do they even have any police there anymore? I don't think so. No. No, thank you. No, thank you. So, oh my goodness. Yes, this is sad. This is sad. These newer, they're not even worth an honorable mention. These newer festivals. You know what, folks? Festivals used to be a beautiful thing. There was a time when outdoor festivals were a gas. On a Sunday afternoon in the 70s, you could go and see Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, Van Halen, Boston, and somebody else for $10. It was an all-day event. You didn't need a tent. There was plenty of hot dog vendors. There was cold beer for sale. There was tons of bathrooms. It was a good, fun time. Girls used to they would wear bikini tops, and when a girl would sit on a guy's shoulder, she'd take her top off. You know, I mean, it was fun times. But somehow, those good times for $10 have morphed into $190 for 3 days of mud and urine. You know, they can have it. They can have it. I'm happy to say I'm too old for this shit anymore. This, where is it? God darn it, where's my... This is not my idea of a good time. No, thank you. No, thank you very much. Call me old. I'm happy to be old. I remember when we used to scream and yell and have a great time for $10. TL Spud says mud and urine covered boobies. Yes. Yes. Oh man. Greed. It's a ridiculous thing. Yeah, Val Hall says back in the day on the Green festivals in the Bay Area, everybody, it was they saw everybody, it was fantastic. Val Hall, I actually traveled from Los Angeles up to Val Hall, up to Day of the Green. Bill Graham, right? The guy who owned it, Bill Graham put it on. Man. Who did I see? I saw Jethro Tull and Robin Trower. Jethro Tull and Robin Trower. Victoria comes in, our rock star, sporting the ship. Little lady, thank you so much. Wonderful to see you. Trick Pony, how's it going? Good to see you. Joe Elaine, glad you made it. Bong hit. You all made it. Yeah, you know, folks, it's a tough thing getting old. You know, you want to stay young. You want to stay hip. But at some point, you got to throw in the towel and say to yourself, I don't know if I want to romp around in somebody else's mud, not knowing what that mud is. I'm going to tell you my story. I've told it before, but I have a newer crowd here, so I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my story one more time about in 1978. Oh my God. This is great. This is great. I'm drawing it for you. So in 1978, I went to the concert right here, the one I showed you the tickets for, the one I'm so proud to still have the unripped ticket, okay? California Jam 2. And because I went early and spent the night, if this is the front of the stage, these are two gigantic towers built on scaffolding, and they've got that construction caution, you know, that orange webbing kind of plastic to keep you out from underneath this thing. And the people, if this is the stage, the people just cascaded out from there, filling up the entire racetrack. Okay, this is huge. But me and my buddies, we slept right about here, which is about maybe 80 yards to the stage. It was cold. It was miserable. But we knew when we woke up in the morning, we were going to be in the best seats in the house. And they were great seats. I mean, I was within 100, 150 feet of the stage. It was great. But I get up first thing in the morning. It's about 5:30, the dawn's early light. And man, I had to pee. I had to pee like there's no tomorrow. So I stand up. Everybody's sleeping. I stand up and I look around and I look and I look and I look, and the closest restrooms I can see are like, I swear to God, they're 1,000 yards away. They're like way the hell down here, way the hell down here. So I glance to my left and I glance to my right and I see, well, everybody's pretty much asleep. So I trucked on over to the bottom of this tower. It had giant speakers on it that were blasting back to all the other hundreds of thousands of people back here. And I looked left and I looked right. I whipped it out and I took a leak right there underneath this thing. And the second I did, 3 other guys jumped inside there and said, "Great idea, man. I really had to go too, man. I didn't want to hike all the way to those restrooms." So, I jump out, and as I jump out, I see another guy jumping in, and as, we're leaving, and I remember walking by it. About 2 hours later. Now it's broad daylight. Now everybody's still awake, and there's still people using it as a urinal. And the disgusting thing is now there's a river. There's a river of urine coming out of this thing, and it's 24 inches wide, and it's flowing down, and unbeknownst to the people with blankets and coolers and all that shit, there's people here, and the water is running through their campsite, and they're stepping in it. They just think it's water. They just think it must be melting ice from one of the vendors. Little do they know, it's a river of pee. So that's why when I see something like this, I get highly suspicious. I don't want anything to do with it, because I've done stuff like that. Yellow River by I.P. Freely. No, thank you. No, thank you very much. All right, folks, it's that time of the week where we take a moment. I always like to do this on Sunday night. I like to take a moment and remember those of us who are less fortunate, those who are in need of prayer for one reason or another. And there, folks, there's no shortage of them. There's no shortage of them just this week alone. I found out my dear brother, I talked to him Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, he got in a car accident. Airbags deployed. He's jacked up. He's going to need freaking help. Our dear brother, the Batman. I want you to please keep our dear brother, the Batman, in your prayers. Pray that, first of all, pray that the damn insurance companies do the right thing and stand up for a guy. His car's screwed up. He's got, when your airbags deploy and you get slammed into, I know people who have been seriously injured by their airbags. Please keep our dear brother, Bruce Q. Wayne, the Batman. Keep him in your prayers, folks. Pray that he heals properly. Pray that he gets proper care. Pray that the alternative measures he's taking, things like acupuncture, pray that they work for him. A dear brother and a great friend, Bruce Q. Wayne, the Batman. Please keep this man in your prayers. Our friend Phyllis, Phil B. Me Too, she is a regular. She is a regular over at Three Beer Men, and she has got upcoming surgery. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what the surgery is for, but I do know that it is necessary, and we would like to keep her covered in prayer. Phil B. Me 2 is her name. Phil B. Me 2. Please keep her in prayer, folks. Pray that the surgeries are a a wonderful success and that everything goes as per plan for her. Our dear brother, the Texan, okay? We, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, we kept our brother, the Texan, in prayer, folks. I want to keep him in prayer one more time. This week will be the deciding factors. In fact, starting tomorrow morning is going to be the deciding factor. We're going to find out if this match made in heaven is in fact a match made in heaven. Our brother, the Texan, is going tomorrow for a week-long. It is a orientation, and if he survives the week, he's got the job, and this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to him in his whole life. So please keep our dear brother, the Texan, in your prayers. Pray that if it's God's will, it comes through for him. One of our friends who goes by the name of Victoria. Now, I don't want you to laugh at the name. She's a very sweet girl. But she's going through a very difficult time right now, financially, personally, emotionally. Folks, keep this young lady in your prayers, would you? She is going through a divorce and all of the difficult things that I've been through a divorce. I know, okay? It's everything. It's not just the dividing of the stuff. It's not just the money. It's not just, it's the friends that used to be close friends and all of a sudden they're not talking to you anymore because they're going to take the other guy's side. The whole thing. Divorce sucks. Please keep this lady in your prayers. Victoria. I just pray that every day is a good day. Every day is a good day for her. That she has nothing but good days. That's what we all deserve. I'd like to ask you to continue to pray for our dear sister Patricia Serdal, a dear friend of this program and many others. You've known her from the Red Pill 78 chats and the Craig Mason chats and the Joey Mormon chats, and this woman is, everybody loves her. Please keep her in your prayer, Patricia Serdal. Peggy Dancer is another one. She's one of our friends from, quite frankly, and a great lady at that. A year ago or so, she was bitten by an Asian beetle. This just wreaked havoc on her system. She's been paying the piper ever since. Please keep her in your prayers. I just pray that God wraps his loving arms around this woman and returns her to normal. Return her to normal is my prayer. My friend, our Charlie, you may know her in the chats, our Charlie. She went in for what should have been a routine, quick and dirty little removal of a fatty cyst off the top of her foot. Folks, this, talk about dropping the ball. Everyone involved with this, they used the wrong type of stitches. They didn't use the dissolving stitches on the inside. I mean, her foot swelled up like a soccer ball. She couldn't walk on it. It's what should have been 5 days and pull the top stitches and you're done has been 3 months. She couldn't walk on it for a month. 2 different trips to emergency rooms. Please keep our Charlie in your prayers. Pray for her continued healing. Pray that the doctors make the right moves. We love this lady. She is awesome. She is awesome. Our brother Dave Mick. I'm glad to see him in the chat with us tonight, but I want us to continue to pray for him, okay? He is doing pretty well with his battle against leukemia, but this is a lifelong endeavor. It's going to be a battle he'll be facing for the rest of his days. Just pray that he continues to have all good days, people. All good days. Dave Mick, keep him in your prayer. Same with our friend John Rogers. I know that he's on the road to mending and doing very well. But keep this man in your prayers. Let's finish him off. Just make sure make sure that everything goes his way. A great a great guy. Someone we really appreciate here. The family. The family of our dear departed brother Leonard, Amber and her children. I ask as we get into the holiday season, I ask that you pray for them, their family. Pray for their family. Every single holiday that they go through without Leonard being there is going to be more difficult. Their first Thanksgiving without him, their first Christmas without him. I just pray for them. Keep them in your prayers. Keep Amber and the family in your prayers. May God bless them. Minnesota Gal and Liz G are two ladies who have been battling breast cancer. I understand that they're winning the fight, which is great news. I ask us to continue to pray for both of them. Liz G, Minnesota Gal, keep them in your prayers. That total cure is what we hope for them. Our dear sister, One Blue Iris. We all love this lady. Robin Murphy, Robin Tepfer. I don't care how you know her. I just want you to pray for her. Pray that she has nothing but good days. Nothing but good days. She's had a rough go, people. And if anybody deserves nothing but good days, it's our dear sister Robin. Please keep her in your prayers. Keep her in your prayers. Along with Gary Flessner, Sleeping Stars, our sister Leah Worth. These are wonderful sailors who just have been dealt a lousy hand. Just a lousy hand, and they're wonderful, beautiful people. I ask that when you're talking to the man upstairs, you ask that God just wraps his loving arms around them, and in some small way, their burden might be lessened. That is my request. Don't forget them. Don't forget them at all. Try as you might. There's always somebody that you end up forgetting, even though you don't want to forget anybody. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best not to miss anyone. Yes, Dave and Cherie Maddox. They will always be on our prayer list. Dave and Cherie. Dave has been battling cancer. His wife, Cherie, is using homeopathic methods. She studies in the library. She finds these methods from days gone by, and her system is working. She has shrunk the cancer in his body. They haven't done chemo. They haven't done anything like that. Just her homeopathic treatments, and it's working. Just continue to pray for the two of them, please. Dave and Cherie Maddox, wonderful friends. What more can I say, folks? What more can I say? Our dear brother, son of a green card. This is an amazing testimony. This guy got in a motorcycle accident, was in the ICU with a swollen brain. The doctors didn't have a lot of hope. Here it is a year later. He has defied all the odds. He's a devout believer, and he's had a ton of people praying for them, for their family. Please continue to pray for son of a green card and his family. I just pray that whatever their needs are, that they are met. He's going to probably need some kind of facial reconstructive surgery. I pray that that goes well for him and their family. Keep them in your prayers. Our friend Amethyst Cat is a wonderful, wonderful lady who broke her hand. I should probably reach out to her and get an update on how it's doing. I'm sure she's healing the way it should, but let's continue to pray for her, that her hand heals good as new. It is her left hand, that's her main hand, folks. Keep her in your prayers, would you? Amethyst Cat. All right, I'm going to release the scratching, as I've been known to do over there at Pilled Foxhole. I want to thank the wonderful people: Victoria, Willie Breakit, Joe Elaine, Our 4 Cents, Bender, LT57, Due Diligence, Sean Joe. Thank you all. Thank you all for your support of this program over there. That is phenomenal. Thank you so very, very much for all you do over there. Thanks a million. Over here at D Live, we have this thing called the treasure chest. The treasure chest. And I like to stick some stuff in there and make it a chest worth winning. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pump that sucker up right now. I'm pumping it up. Here it comes, people. All right, you lemon lovers. Thank you for your support of this program over there. Lynn Winters, TL Spud, Peggy Dancer, so many others. Bad Zoot, Jayla17, Mighty Tort, Willie Fixit. Thank you guys for your support over there. Here it comes. Here comes the treasure chest. I am busting it loose. I'm busting it loose for you right now. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. We'll see who hauls down the lemons. We'll see who hauls them in. Okay. Let me see if I still got this going. Good. That's good. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. I'm telling you that the images of those people wallowing in the mud. I will never look at concerts again the same way. Never. Never. I can't. All right. I'm getting this queued up and ready. Well, look at our lucky followers tonight. TL Spud on top. Lynn Winters. Artist 61. Bad Zoot and Jayla17. Congratulations over there at D Live, you winners. You big hat fairy wieners over there. Well done. Well done, sailors. All right, let me get this going. All right. As you know, because I'm broadcasting on one specific channel, I cannot play music on the way out the door. Otherwise, I get in trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble. So we're just going to exit tonight with the sounds of the harbor. Water gently lapping against the side of the boat. The occasional seagull. And perhaps a foghorn. But one thing is for sure, I am going to shut this stream down. I promise you. I love you all. I will see you on Wednesday night. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with me tonight. This is the Mystery Ship. Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays we do this. And then Saturday, of course, the Hard Rock Show. You'll have to come visit that someday. You really should. Tell a friend. Thanks to all of you who have donated to the show in one way or another. God bless you all. Have a great week ahead, people. Have a great, great week ahead. Fall is in the air, right? This is where I'm going right here. Right here is where I'm going. We'll see you all later.